Hello, everyone. You know that old saying, you can give a man to fish and he will eat for a day, or you can teach a man to fish and he will eat for a lifetime? Well, today is your lucky day because I'm going to teach you how to fish. So the first thing you need to do is pick out the right rod and reel. As you can see here, some rod and reels are very, very small. Now this one's mainly just for easy travel, but to really fish, you'd like one much larger, usually between 5 and 6 feet. They've got good sturdiness, good durability, and you can really feel the fish on. You can really feel the bite as well as the enjoyment of bringing them in. Some rods that get past 6 to 7 feet can get thicker, and so the fight isn't as strong, and it's really just easy to bring them in. Takes away some of the enjoyment. Now for the reels, there are ones like this where you have to click back the bail in order to cast. There are some that have a button down here that you would have to click and then release to cast. And there's some that have like a little trigger mechanism where you click that in and then release to cast. The push buttons and the triggers usually cast really well. But the reliability is not so great. They break easy, they get hung up a lot, whereas this, if there's an issue, very easy to fix and still really good to cast with. Then, the next thing that you need to make sure you get right is picking out your bait. And so there are lots of different baits out there. There's hard bait, soft bait, there's top water bait that floats and splashes when you use it. There's bait that you have to reel in quickly in order for it to move properly. And then there's the good old-fashioned rubber worm. And now there's a couple different ways you can rig these. Actually, there's quite a few. I'm only going to show you a couple. So one way is to take the hook, you stick the worm right in the middle, and as you can see, it gives it a real good wiggle. Fish go crazy over this. And then there's what's called the Texas rig, where you would take the hook, you stick it in the nose of the worm, push it through, and you bring the worm all the way up to the top of the hook, and then you would put the hook in the middle again, and as you see, it would stick out at the top, so when the fish bites, you get to hook it in. And then the next important thing is to learn how to cast properly. It may seem simple enough, but I've gone fishing with a couple of friends that just can't quite get it down. And so what you want to do is you pull the fishing line in, flip the bail, and when you cast, you have to make sure it's one smooth motion. Arm and wrist move in sync. You want to kind of have it at an angle up and out, like a 45-degree angle from the water when you cast to get the best distance. And then, okay, yes, and so what fish like, so that you know where to cast. Fish like shade. So if you're fishing from the shore and there's trees overhanging the water, you want to try and cast underneath. They like debris. So if there's logs floating in the water, or you can see there's a partially sunken tree, very likely fish are hanging out there. Also, if you know where there's a drop-off, a lot of the times fish will like to hang out there as well. So any of those areas, go for it. And then when it comes to time of day and fishing, usually the morning and the night are the best. Stay away from midday fishing. It can be very difficult to catch a fish and usually very hot. It can get bothersome. Also, right before a storm or after a storm, because the barometer changes, the fish go nuts and they just love to bite whatever you're casting. So get out there and catch some fish.